Have you guys heard of IMMI Ramen? IMMI is basically healthy instant ramen. It's the first low-carb, high-protein, 100% plant-based instant ramen, and I love their story. So there are these two friends, and both their names are Kevin, and they're from Taiwan and Thailand, countries where noodles are kind of a staple. As we all know, the problem is that noodles are generally unhealthy, especially instant noodles. They're loaded with preservatives, sodium, and pretty much have zero nutritional value. And that's been unchanged ever since. Like, we all know this, and we don't really expect any health benefits when we're eating noodles, especially instant noodles. The same way how you don't go to McDonald's and complain that their burgers are unhealthy. Like, it's established that you don't go there for healthy food. But this becomes a problem if noodles are a big part of your life. The founders themselves have shared that they have family members who have health conditions most likely caused by regularly eating instant noodles. And so the two Kevins come up with this idea. They thought, what if we made ramen that was healthy? So they both quit their jobs and began figuring this whole thing out. The problem was, let's just say that the main reason why no one has produced healthy ramen ever before was that it's so difficult. I'm guessing that it's hard to make healthy noodles that's delicious, that can be preserved, and that can be cooked instantly. Like, you can have a couple of those attributes, but to have all of those boxes checked, it's extremely challenging. So then the two Kevins rolled up their sleeves and poured countless hours trying to solve this problem. They shared that it took them over 200 recipes before they ended up with one that they personally thought that people would love. I mean, can you imagine that? Imagine going through 200 rounds of trial and error. Also, now that I think about it, I'm always amazed with these types of stories. Stories where someone stumbles upon a problem, decides to pursue it, and actually finds a way to solve it. I don't know if you guys can relate, but like, personally, I also have spotted problems in this world that I want to solve, but sometimes I just have no idea where to start. Like, okay, let's say that I'm the one who realized that I want to make healthy ramen. Where do I start? How do I even make noodles? How do I even make instant noodles? Is this something that I can make at home? It all starts to snowball into something overwhelming. But now that I mentioned this, I think that it helps if you list down all these questions and just start working on them one by one. As always, my favorite quote when I'm faced with something overwhelming is, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. It just takes the pressure off you, and the problem you initially thought was massive, before you know it, you've answered all those questions. So that's why I'm so impressed and so amazed with these two, as well as all the other entrepreneurs who've done something similar. But okay, going back, their whole trial and error part when they went through 200 iterations of this recipe, all of this happened in a span of a full year. And funny because they were so relieved when they finally ended up with that recipe, but as soon as they started selling these, people hated it. But sure enough, they just went back to work and spent another year working on another recipe until they finally ended up on their current version, which people absolutely love. In one interview, they shared one of their major blunders. So apparently one time they shipped like 5 containers of their product to Taiwan, but their FDA banned that due to some ingredients being banned there. And so the government basically burned the entire shipment. Like, wow, can you imagine? But now the business is doing really well. IMMI Ramen is now sold in all 50 states in the US, and they're already exporting to several countries across the world. I love this story because these two guys pretty much thought of reinventing something that many, if not all of us, have accepted as that's just the way it is, which is how I see noodles. Like, I know instant noodles aren't healthy, but I've just accepted the fact that, okay, that's just how it's always been. But I never really thought of doing something like, hey, what if it doesn't have to be that way? What if we could make a healthier version? And as I was reading this, it actually made me think about a way for you to generate ideas. Let's just call it the alternate universe process. You can generate a lot of ideas by looking at the things you use every day and by asking yourself what it would look like in an alternate universe. So I was just watching this series For All Mankind. Amazing show, by the way. You guys have to check it out, and no spoilers here, but basically the premise is that in this universe, a lot of things played out differently. Like, Soviet Russia didn't fall and Michael Jordan signed with the Trailblazers. Those types of things. Now imagine the same thing here. Thinking about things this way will make you rethink how everyday things are. Things we consider as normal. And it helps if you're playful during this process. Like, don't limit yourself when thinking of silly ideas. Just run free with it. Grab your notebook, look around you, and write down what those things would look like in an alternate universe. And who knows, you might just end up with a problem you feel is worth solving. Because that's what the Kevins did with IMMI Ramen. I love the idea of this business, I love their branding, and I'm excited to see what they're gonna be able to do.